AJ, did you watch Lance Armstrong?
Yes, I did see a good chunk of that. I really enjoy it. I'm looking. How many are there? I'm looking forward to it.
Two.
There's only two?
One more next week, yeah, so 4 total hours.
He was I think he's a guy who's just got to the point where he does not care if you absolutely hate him, because it feels as if that is the way this is all being portrayed. He's like, hey, this is a guy who was set in his ways, was obviously a savage when it came athletically, but he had a lot of things about him that make you go, oh, I hate that guy. And I think that's been his entire life, basically. And I think they dug into that a little bit, obviously, about his, what's that called? Your actual dad, the biological dad, Guntherson or whatever his name was. And then his stepfather, the Armstrong guy, he even in there was like, maybe I pushed him too hard to win at all costs. It just feels like Lance Armstrong was this human that was created just to be a savage competitor. And he did not give a single damn about anybody else or anything stopping him. Got a lot accomplished. Obviously, those EPOs, which I did not know exactly what Lance Armstrong did wrong back in the day. I just knew that he did wrong. It sounds like the EPOs were something he was definitely going to do, and then whatever else he got into as well, whatever would put him up on top. And it felt like there was a lot of bodies kind of all around, people that got left in the dust because of his ability to say, I'll do absolutely anything to be great.
Well, I thought it was interesting, too, when they go back and they play clips of interviews he did when he was like 21, 23 years old. Like, Lance is the same dude now than he was when he was like 23. They show he seems like kind of like a young, arrogant, cocky dude. Well, what is he, 52, 53? I don't know. Whatever. He seems very, very similar to what he was. Like, he doesn't make any apologies. Like, he basically feels justified in what he did and the whole doping situation. I understand with cycling, it seems like everybody's doing it. So you're just doing it to try to stay even with the field, and then Lance is just such a monster. He's able to win so much. But the thing that I think people hate him for is, like, he tore a lot of people down. He got a lot of people, a lot of families, husband, wives, teammates. He really threw them under the bus and lied till he possibly couldn't lie anymore, I guess. And he eventually admitted it to Oprah, didn't he, when he said he finally doped?
Yeah, I think the Oprah got him. I think you're 100% right, though, about him being the same exact person as old. At 15, they were lying about his age so he could go compete in triathlons, and he was just beating the shit out of everybody. And then his first trip to the United States Olympic team or whatever, they were training, and the people that were already on the Olympic team, they were like, we had heard of this legend of Lance, this guy from Texas. That was a complete different ballgame. And they talk about those 5-minute sprints where you go 5 minutes with the wind and then you turn and go 5 minutes against the wind. And the guy was like, yeah, we're doing the sprints like with the wind or whatever. I was like, what is this? And then we turned around, we were going against the wind, and he was just a machine. And then when that 5 minutes was up, he called the guy a fucking pussy for not going harder with him. It's just like, damn. I don't know how, but think it was mentioned in the thing. Whenever you become a cycler, right, like natural instinct is to do a team sport, maybe another sport, to do something. Cross country people have to do this. Cycling does this. You have to be a mental warrior where you're a loner by nature, right? You're all by yourself. It's you and your thoughts. It was interesting to hear him talk about what he would think about during his races, plans, and things of that nature. It was just, I don't know. The Lance Armstrong saga is an interesting one because he was so good. And because he was so good, so much good come from it, right? With the Live Strong thing. And then his just stubbornness to admit guilt on anything burned it all down. And I think without that stubbornness, by the way, he never becomes the guy that he was to begin with. So it's like a live by the sword, die by the sword type thing. Lance Armstrong's story is like a stubborn, savage guy who just went down fighting all the way to the end and could not be like, yeah, I fucked up and ruined everything.
Yeah, and he's not going to stop fighting anytime soon. Like, I don't think he'll ever stop fighting against, like, people saying the start of the docu-series or documentary or whatever is him explaining the story in a restaurant where guys, group of 5 or 6 dudes are flicking him off, yelling at him. The old me would have punched that guy in the face. But I bought their meal and I said, make sure you tell him that Lance sends his love. Jeez.
Way to go, Lance. Way to go.
They talked about like how brutal it was to be around him when he was younger too, because he was so damn competitive. Every single thing they did, he would make it a competition.
What are we learning here? Lance Armstrong, Michael Jordan, Tiger, Peyton, Tom to a certain extent. Just the most competitive humans seem to be the ones that go to the top. But there seems to be a lot of things that have to fall by the wayside if your competitive juices continue that. Now, Peyton, right, has a family, Everything worked out, so I don't think I don't know. To me, he was a great teammate, good friend. I don't think you hear
Tom. What about Tom too?
Tom almost had a divorce, right?
Yeah.
He talked about that on Howard Stern. He almost lost his family, but he was able to change. So I guess maybe not Tom or Peyton, but Michael, Lance, Tiger. It seems like those guys that are up in that. By the way, Serena's another one who's just.
Say Phelps.
Serena's one that's way up there. Phelps is another one. Serena, though, has built a family, and so she's in there with Peyton and Tom.
She married the founder of Reddit, didn't she?
Yep.
Yeah, he follows me on Twitter. I have not sent my one DM that I could send yet. I haven't pulled the trigger yet.
You say congratulations to the marriage. That'd be a good one.
They've been married for a long time. Have a kid too. That'd be a little bit late.
Second kid, Jack.
Anniversary?
Second kid comes, I'll say it. Anniversary, I think I already missed a couple, so don't want to just show up at the third birthday. But I think Phelps falls in there. It's like whenever you have that super competitive drive, there's some other things that obviously have to lack, I believe.
Well, there's certain things that some are willing to sacrifice and some aren't, I guess. And those ultra, like the best of the best, there's something in their brain that just makes them different than everybody else. Like that drive, like when you watch the Lance stuff, you're like, geez, from the jump, from a young age, this dude was a brash, confident guy that was just willing to take anybody on, and he's not scared to talk about it either.
You know, every time I start getting into fitness a little bit, I'm like, I'm going to do a triathlon. I'm going to do a mini marathon. I'm going to do something of that nature. And then you watch that thing for Lance last night, you're like, well, I'm nowhere near that level of fitness. There's no way I could do that.
Look good, feel good, play good.
Play good, pay good, die good.